we go. All right. All right, so are we ready?
We are ready.
Okay.
And I'll do my best to monitor the chat in case there are any questions that come in as you're talking.
Well, thank you so much.
Mhm.
What I want to say is thank you for this opportunity to promote mental health awareness at Brenau University, where we strive to create a culture of wellness. I think we all try to do that. And just saying I'm the university counselor in itself can make me feel a little bit anxious. However, I counteract those feelings by realizing that I'm really not alone, trying to help the students and trying to be here to help all of you, because there's a dynamic and brilliant staff that's with me called Student Services. And I think together we're charting the waters in order to help our students succeed at Brenau University, and it allows us all to work together. I always like to say in this common thread. So what is counseling? What is an LPC? Well, as an LPC, I am a counselor. I provide a professional relationship that empowers diverse individuals, families, and groups to accomplish mental health, wellness, education, and career goals. And I had to get a master's degree, go through 4 years supervision. And so I'm able to be a service provider in the industry to help with individuals, families, groups, and with emotional problems and disorders. And I wanted to share here just real quick a little bit of a study that this is a 2019 study on health of college students during the previous 12 months. So the American College Health Association reported that 8.4% of students being diagnosed or treated for ADHD. And in the same day, they found that 10% of students were diagnosed or treated for psychiatric conditions. And what we do realize is that after March of 2020, anything to do with mental health, substance abuse, anything has actually increased about 30%. And that's not just with our students, that's with all of us. And so it says over the past 20 years, university health staff has dramatically increased the number of students that are seeking help. And I know that I do a little report for, board report here. And I know each time I do that, my numbers are starting to go pretty high. And so what they suggest is a lot of things, but one of them is to prevent faculty and staff burnout and to create a wellness culture. And so that's kind of what we're doing. So for the ones of you that are with me, today, I want you to think about something. I want to just go right into an intervention right now. And I want you to think about breathing for just a second, which is something hopefully you've been doing all day. But if I went back to, my first caption there, it looked like I was sitting with a cup of coffee. So let me go back to that just real quick. And I didn't even realize it until I got up today that today is actually National Coffee Day. And I made this slide a long time ago, not realizing today was National Coffee Day. So let me say, cheers to you with a cup of joe at 1:30 in the day to get us going. So, all right. So what do I provide here? Individual counseling, group counseling, crisis intervention, and consultation and referral. And a lot of what I do is I provide interventions. And so I just told you just to think about your breathing, which is a mindfulness thing to do. So, the way you might do that is just breathe in through your nose. You need to count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in and kind of hold that for just a couple seconds and then let that out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And when you hold that, you're using the abdomen. I'm a singer. I studied music before I got into adult counseling. So I know how to breathe from my abdomen. So I sometimes call that the breadbasket. So you're just kind of feeling that up, almost like a balloon, and then letting that out just very, very slowly. And as you do that, I'd like for you to have a little bit of a mantra with that. And as you're breathing out, I want you to think about the things at this time of the day, around 1:30, that you're thankful for, things that you've been involved with just for today, the things that you're thankful for or grateful for. And it could just be the small things. It doesn't have to be anything, big. And at the same time, think about what your strengths are with that. Okay. All right. And I'm going to come back to that and do a little bit more with that a little bit later on. All right. So what are some reasons to seek counseling? Well, stress management. And that kind of ties into worry, anxiety, feeling anxious. And sometimes we think about those generalized anxiety disorders, social phobia, panic attack, obsessive compulsive disorder. And certainly, where we are with COVID, when we're trying to charter these waters of grief and loss, trauma, trying to adjust to coming back to the norm. And I think that we never know from day to day where we are with COVID. And even though we're trying to go back to what we think to be normal, I think it's like we're looking at the rear view mirror, So there's things that are kind of hanging out in the bow, so to speak. I know I've had some things in my own family situations where, we had to put some things off and now we're trying to catch up. So we've had a year and a half or something to catch up with things. And along the way, we've had some sort of horrific things take place. Depression, there's different degrees of depression. Sometimes it's good just to be assessed. And if a referral needs to be made, we'll make that. A lot of it's about education and trying to find support. Self-injury, suicide. That's a great topic to talk about, and sometimes a scary one to talk about. But it's important because we may be seeking stabilization and certainly, support. And we have to kind of look out for ourselves and those around us with some of these topics. And diet and nutrition, assessing for an eating disorder, which is really about power and control. It's not about the food, and seeking some education and again, support. So how do we make a referral to me to help folks? Well, I'm Gay Baldwin. My email is gbaldwin@brenau.edu. My phone number is 770-534-6121. And I can assess a situation, connect you with our employee assistance program, which I'll talk about in a couple slides. I can walk you through the online portal with our insurance company and connect you with a therapist or other resources in the area. And I can also make a referral to the Brenau Center for Counseling and Psychological Services. And I'll talk about that in a couple slides. If there is an emergency, then we need to call 911. And certainly in those cases, we need to get security involved. And, you should be able to just dial 1234 or the 770-534-6202. All right. So resources on this campus, even beyond me, is the Brenau Center for Counseling Psychological Services. And I don't know if folks are aware, this is an entity outside of me, and it's been here for a long period of time and is great for our community and our students and all of us. So there's a reduction fee of $25 for the intake, and then $15 for counseling. And if there's a need for psychological evaluation, it's $450. That's quite a savings because that can really mount up to about $1,200 and up. So we do have health services, and that's Sarah Davis, and she keeps us up to par with what's, the culture with COVID, flu, all kinds of things that are going on. She's brilliant. She's great with that. And then we have the director, Paula Dampier, keeping us safe with security. And there's that number again, the 534-6202. All right. So let's talk a little bit about a resource that not a lot of folks tap into, but is part of you being an employee here at Brenau University, which is an employee assistance program. And it's through Magellan, and they provide confidential program with you with a variety of resources. They do some really cool stuff. I mean, you can go to their website, magellanascend.com, to learn about these services. And the key feature is that there's no cost. There may be a telephonic consultation, and it's confidential, and it's provided by a third party. And they're available 24/7, 365 days in the year. And the core services include consultation, health and wellness, self-care programs, So I think that's pretty cool that they're focusing on workplace stress, work-life services through webinars, and they're focusing on something which is a buzzword here in 2021, which is resilience, that bouncing back from a situation and being able to really draw strength from some tough stuff in our lives. All right, I want to get into some interventions here. So let's go back to something that we just talked about early, which is that breathing and being grateful and thinking about strengths. You know, you can either do this with me now or you can do this later, but I want you to think about maybe like a 24-hour clock. And if you drew like a 24-hour clock, and you think about your work days and your other days, which are maybe your off days, like the weekends and things, and think about what you do in your 24-hour day. Well, some of that you sleep, and some of that you work, some of that you eat, some of that's family stuff. And so there's a little chunk of time that's left over for whatever. And it's interesting to kind of visually see that, and to kind of see, even on our work days off, or our off days if we're not working, what we're actually doing with our time. And the idea is to kind of ask yourself, is there, you know, do I require additional planning for this self-care? Because maybe that's the goal, you know, for some self-care and having some downtime. Do I actually visually see where I'm doing that? What is the pattern that I observe with that? And how can I think about that in a different way? How can I make that happen? If I don't have chunks of time for self-care, how can I make that happen? And so Ashley Williams is an assistant professor at Harvard University, and she's suggesting 3 things here, which I think is really good for some of the questions about, you know, trying to prevent work burnout and trying to manage stress. Is she's suggesting that we think about what you do when you rest. So that's why I gave you that 24-hour clock to think about. So she's saying to reframe the rest, enjoy the present moment. And, you know, really where she's going with this is in that 24-hour clock. When you're not at work, you know, are you checking your cell phone for your email messages, a text message, or something like that that's work related? Then you're not in the present moment with your family or friends or whatever, you know, you don't on that off time. So she says to treat the upcoming weekend like a vacation. Plan it with family, friends, etc. Be creative and follow through. Don't get real expensive with that. Be more creative with that, but be present with that. That's a cool idea. And then create clear boundaries for time off. And within your group, you know, your team that you work with in the workplace, kind of keep one another accountable for personal time, helping with the things that matter in the workplace and beyond. If you're someone who maybe is on call or something like that with whatever it is that you do at Brenau, hopefully you take turns doing that, but then you check in, see how your fellow coworkers doing, you know, during that off time when they were on call, that sort of thing. So it becomes something that you feel like you're not working at alone. And negotiate for more time on projects to keep it from creeping into your personal life. Maybe, you know, something was due on Monday, I didn't quite get everything done. Is there some way to bump that up to Tuesday? I had that happen just earlier today, where I've got something coming up on Monday, and that person has asked me to bump it to Tuesday, and that worked, you know, or if we didn't, we would have bumped it to the next Monday or something. So we have to be okay and be flexible. That's a good thing to do. And something else that she suggests is it's not the time that we work, it's really the quality of our work. You know, that's the metric that we want to focus on. And this is what will help us to reach the goal of work-life balance. So we can be empowered to kind of think about it like that. All right. And so some interventions I just want to throw out here is have a routine, get up and go to bed at a similar time. Sometimes we stretch that a little bit on the weekends, but that can make a little bit of a lag sometimes on Monday morning not to get up when that 6 o'clock, bell goes off. Keep up with personal hygiene, eat healthy meals at regular times, exercise on a regular basis, allocate time for working and time for resting. Make time to do the things that you enjoy. And helping others can be very altruistic, and it kind of shifts the focus off of you, and it's kind of like paying it forward. And mental health is real. It's something we all share. We all have mental health. And if we start to work on kind of chiseling some of the things with our mental health, then it can minimize those bouts of depression and anxiety, and certainly, psychiatric illnesses. So we want to be intentional about resilience, being able to deal with stress and bounce back from adversity. And then some other interventions I have, and these are really cool, is the American Heart Association. We don't realize, I don't know if you realize it, but the American Heart Association doesn't just focus on what we eat and how we exercise, but they also focus on managing stress. And so one of the things that they suggest is positive self-talk. So they're really talking about positive psychology is what they're talking about. And so, instead of saying I can't get this done or I can't do this, we can always say, I'm going to do the best that I can, And some emergency stoppers are about finding pleasure in what we are doing. And sometimes when there's stressors that come up, it's okay to stop and breathe. That's something I did with you at the very beginning of this. And just, counting to 10, allowing yourself to be grounded, that sort of thing. And then, with finding pleasure, it's also about maybe doing some art, maybe doing something, and certainly not perfecting that. With our students here, there's, I want to show off some of their talents here, but I don't know if you can see this very well, but here's a vision board, and this is something that you and I can do too. So we learn a lot from our students. And one more I want to share with you real quick. This is really cool. It says to visualize healing, if you can see that. To visualize healing, there's a tree right in the middle of that. And she gave me permission to share this with you. And then on the back of it, there's some affirmations that the student has written. I am worthy of love. I am enough. I have everything I need to succeed. I am worth more than what I can do for others, and my happiness matters. How cool is that, And so again, we can learn from our own students about things to do with ourselves. So daily relaxation is really about that breathing, really taking that walk. Don't run to situations, walk. Take the time to just have a relaxing walk. And, you can be creative with that. And you can also even have different things. I've got some things around my desk area here where I've got some lotions, like this is aromatherapy that says focus. I've already used that today. I've got a squeeze ball here that kind of helps me out when it's a little bit of stress. I've got, for me, there's some spirituality. I've got a pocket of prayers here. So sometimes I might, get some of these wonderful tools involved in my day. A gratitude journal. Sometimes when you say keep a gratitude journal, that sounds like a lot of work sometimes to people. But really, the way I like to teach that is to think about acknowledging the great things that are going on in your day, and just write those down, kind of like what I was saying with that mantra with breathing. What are you grateful for? So if you acknowledge what you've been a part of, that actually itches your dopamine levels and gives you that normal euphoria, And here in the Gainesville area, just down the street, you've got Yoga Find Your Center. And these are wonderful folks. They've actually come in the last few years or so, they've come and done some things with our students. I have an art expression room, and they came in and did some art with us and helped us to get centered with our breathing. And certainly you have the spa on Green Street. You guys probably know about this. And these are things that you can do to pamper yourself, to get a massage and things like that. Maybe once a month or maybe once every couple months, carve out that time and and those monies or whatever resources to get some of this stuff into your life. All right. Now, some other interventions that I have is Inner Health Studio. This is a really cool website because I'm using this with our students. It's a quick website that you can go to that talks about sleep hygiene, anxiety. It gives you some worksheets. It talks you through. It even gives you an opportunity to do some meditation, breathing. You can do this right at your desk. And so it's really, really cool. You don't have to buy anything. It's free. And then free mindfulness apps at mindful.org. And if you look over to the right, you'll see some apps you can do on your phone there: Calm, Headspace, Abide, Meditation. And then going back to left, there's tips for getting good sleep. So there's a website for that. And that's something I think a lot of us struggle with when we've got some anxiety and stuff with COVID, all these things going on in our lives. So, you know, sleep is pretty darn important. It's way up there. In fact, you can go for a few days and not eat and still be here, but you might not be here if you don't sleep. Sleep's pretty important. And then over to the right there, music relaxation. There's a quick website there. I was using it this morning just to have some, I call it ambient type music in the background while you're getting ready for your day, or maybe, you know, somewhere during your lunch hour, or just maybe just have it on the background throughout your day. All right, I'm saying thank you, but let me go back. I want to finish out the interventions with you, okay? So I don't know if you're able to do this 24-hour clock, and certainly you don't have to do any of this stuff with me right now, but think about that. But if you wanted to do that, if you have done that, then you're able to visually see what you do in your day. And that's a good way to even do time management. If you can think about time management around self-care. So if you did that, if you flip the page over, look on, you know, on the back, draw a circle, and inside the circle, put the word self-care, because I think that's what the goal is. And then outside the circle, you can put little strands, almost like sunbeams, you know, and on those beams, you can put just, for example, sleep, time management, patience, meditation, focus, support, prioritize, that sort of thing. And then you can do some cool stuff with that and turn it into an art project and put that somewhere, maybe in your office, or, you know, where you can quickly see that, or make a picture on your phone, or what, you know. I did that exercise with our students last week for an outreach program with our wonderful career counselor, Michelle McGowan. I don't know if you've met her, but I went to her class and we did that, and I think they really liked that. So any questions? Thank you again. Something I wanted to say is, excuse me, I'm going to stop sharing this for just a second if I can. And I want to share something else with you. Let's see. This is something that I'm thinking you can get through human resources here, because I've sent this to Kelly, and it's mental health tips. Now, this goes into a lot of stuff, even with our students. But on here, you know, if you want this, just email me and I'll send this to you. You know, just gbaldwin@brenau.edu. But it talks about having a routine, which I talked about today, that our social contact is important. You know, make sure you're taking some breaks from your screen time. And, you know, even with social media, says utilize social media to swap positive and hopeful interactions. Because you know what? We're inundated with the negative. You ever notice that? And so we've got to be intentional about the positive. And my goodness, you ever watch the 7 o'clock news with David Muir? He can't wait to tell you, just came off the press, you know. And at the end of it, he tells you about a great American. And so I wish he would kind of bookend that and talk about the positive first. But be kind with others. You know, health workers deserve our support, our respect. Utilize gratitude. So some of these things I've already talked to you about. And practice that self-care. So, you know, what I'm saying about our students is check in with them. You know, this is actually I took some CEUs over the summer, and that's one of the things that we talked about is making that difference by taking the opportunity to check in. And so we can do that with our coworkers too, you know. Let's see. And I've got some warning signs there for depression, and I've talked about panic disorder just to give some definition of some of these things, and how to make a referral to me. And I've got the resources on campus and also information there about the Employee Assistance Program. So if you need any of this kind of stuff, just send me an email at gbaldwin@brenau.edu, and I'll send this to you. I think I had one more thing to share with you guys. If I can find it. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe that was it. All right. How's that? Does that help? Any questions? Okay.
Lainey did put in the chat that maybe we could have a dream board workshop sometime in
Well,
the
there you go. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would love to do that. Yeah.
And I think we could easily turn any of what you talked about today into a workshop if more people are interested.
Yes. Yes. Now, I want to tell you something. I have, you know, I feel like I have the coolest office on campus. I'm upstairs from where, you know, Sarah is, the nurse practitioner. And I've got my therapy room here, and I'm sitting in my office now, but there's a big room that I have art expression room. And I also have a comm room. I forget to tell people that I have a comm room that has a keyboard in there. And this is my keyboard and my guitar. I'm not a guitarist. I still can't get the F chord, but I've got several guitars, and I did play, you know, growing up and stuff, but I'm not going to play for anybody. I'm a singer. I will sing. But I've, you know, these are my things that I've brought here. And also there's some of the art that the students have made are actually showcased in that room. There's squeeze balls, there's a yoga mat, there's a little thing that tells you what to do with yoga. There's music, there's just all kinds of cool stuff in that room. And I just call it the comm room, but we have some cool space up here to do some things. So yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, we can even do that virtually as well. So, yeah.
Yes. And I just want to say thank you for bringing so many different kinds of resources, because it really seems like Brenau has something to offer for everybody's different needs.
Yeah.
And if not, you have a connection for them of where they could find what they need.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at how much Brenau had to offer. I honestly thought it was just you in an office somewhere, but you really do have tons of things to offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're, you know, the cool thing is that we're in the North Georgia mountains. We're right here in Gainesville, and Gainesville is a cool city. I wouldn't say it's a small city anymore. It's pretty big, actually, you know, and there's a lot that we can pour into within our community here. And they're so nice to come and kind of help us out, you know, so it just, you know, it just works. So yeah. If you guys have any questions or thoughts or any suggestion, you know, whatever it is, just email me at gbaldwin@brenau.edu, and I'll do the best I can to accommodate. So, yeah.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything, then we will. Oh, yeah. So Summer just says thank you in the chat.
Thank you.
So thank you. And thank you guys for being here. I hope you learned something. And we'll share this with everybody in the update. So hopefully it will reach others too that couldn't be here live.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very humbled by the experience. And like I said, student services are brilliant, wonderful people that we all work together on this common thread to help our students. And I think we work together to help each other. We're trying to do some good stuff here. So
Yes.
It's not just me. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day.